together. I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. I was in the state of Michigan. So I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. Matter of fact, I didn't even know this person was associated with the Karen Reed case. I have no idea what they're talking about with Karen Reed. It had nothing to do with Karen Reed. No discussion about
Did you
Karen.
tell Officer Dever to do the right thing?
I didn't know she was even associated with that case. So, I don't know. I was struck like, what do I have to do with the Karen Reed race? I never have said those words together. I have nothing to do with Karen Reed. I was in the state of Michigan. So I have nothing to
What's up, jerks? Mike Crawford here. We're again replaying Chief Michael Cox, that classic video he just gave all of us. We keep replaying it for a reason. Today we're going to talk about Michael Cox and what just happened on Brother Council show. Like 5,000 of you watching over there with Alan Jackson on the show. We've got a great guest, a big guest, a distant cousin from Boston. This dude is like, he's the man. He's been around for decades, does great work in his community, silently doing the work. Today he was doing some work he'll probably talk about, just what he does all the time. I follow him on Facebook. He's also like I'd say a community advocate, journalist, a big community person. That's the big thing about him. And he's supportive of people. He's always been supportive of me, and I've always appreciated what he does, specifically in the city of Boston, politically too, and just as a friend. He's like an old friend of mine in a way. And we haven't even I'm trying to remember if we actually have ever fucking met like in person, because I feel like I have met him, but I'm not even sure if I have actually. But I know this dude. I know him. He's got the same last name as me, and it's my honor to bring him on the show. Somebody who's very respected, if you're from the city of Boston. Jamarhl Crawford, what's up, bro?
Peace. Great to be here on the Young Jerks. This is the old jerk.
Yeah, we are old now, aren't we? We got some gray in the beard.
Yeah, man. And we've always made the joke, I call you Cousin Crawford, what have you. But, from your earliest stuff on the journalism tip with Chris Ferrone and, obviously doing a lot of the cannabis journalism and all this type of thing. And then seeing this transition for, the case of the century, if you will, this Karen Reed, and seeing people actually being able to pivot to more of a media presence in the area, breaking big stories and on the cusp of, breaking news.
Exciting, and it's very exciting to be friends with you too. Like, just watch you do your thing and all you've done over the years. Like, because we're talking about this post commission now, and we're talking about we cover the post commission, and you're noticing this other noting this other group in Boston that we're going to talk about tonight. But a lot of this stuff was started by what you were doing.
Yeah, give thanks. Let me do this shout out just for people in your audience who like me and you might be people who like to do research and whatnot. When I as a police reform activist, I was looking for something where I could be get the gotcha moment. As a wrestler, if they go like that, you want to go like this. You know what I mean? So I was trying to figure something where we could actually get a win for police reform. And that led my research to this thing called police decertification, which was such a simple concept. The basic concept is, if you're a lawyer and you do bad lawyering and you cheat some old lady out of her will or whatever, you can get disbarred, right? If you're a bad doctor and you do a bad booty injection, in somebody's basement, you could lose your medical license and you cannot go anywhere else and practice anywhere else. Right. So for police, the concept was simple. Police get a license to become police, but at that time, Massachusetts was one of only 6 states that did not have a mechanism to de-license them. So I found the godfather of decertification. His name was Professor Roger Goldman. He was a great guy. Rest in peace now. He died several years ago, but he was a consummate intellect and professor. And he came to Boston of his, on his own dime. I offered to put him up in a hotel, and he was like, no, he just came because he believed in the mission, and he was like a missionary for this cause. And so when he came up here in Massachusetts, we introduced him to the legislature and so on and so forth. And, it was a process, but now we have Post.
It's important too, because like you said, I was a financial advisor. We were licensed. I saw somebody lose their license over lies. They had created their own business card and pretended to go to Harvard when they didn't, all that stuff. And it was just stupid stuff. And they got weeded out very quickly through licensing before they even got to take any money from anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it actually does work. It makes sense to license people, especially cops. That's such a no-brainer. That's what I like about you is you focus on solutions and things that are actually achievable. And this is such a big thing to have. There's a lot of flaws, obviously, with the Post Commission. Every time we pass something, like I wanted legal cannabis, it passed, but it wasn't passed the way I wanted it to be passed. A lot of problems with it. Same with the Post Commission, but thank God we have legal cannabis and the Post Commission, because it's better than what was there before. Now we actually have hearings. We have police officers, bad cops. They do lose their jobs, and it does have a ramification. They can't just go to the next town or the next state. Now they're marked for life if they get decertified. So thank God you helped make that happen.
Give thanks. And I mean, once again, as you said, I strive to find kind of arguments that people can't argue against. So if it just came from me, it probably would have been shot down. But the fact that I had found Professor Roger Goldman, introduced him to the legislature and everything, and then people was like, oh, this is not some scary Black Panther thing. You know what I mean? It just made good sense. And actually, too, let me also say this. This is in the history of anything that I've ever done. One of the first letters that I got in support of that was from this organization that is the International Association of Police Chiefs.
It
They
makes sense for them. Yeah, they want it.
And
because they'd have to deal with bad cops, and it makes good cops should want that, because it makes, even as a financial advisor, if you don't have that, it cheapens your industry, and then people don't value your license. Once you have a license, it's now your profession is valuable.
There you go. And as we know in the social justice forum, there's a lot of great lawyers out there who have helped people come home or flip cases or win major settlements and all that. But, there's also a million lawyer jokes about bad lawyers.
Right.
So this is where one of the things is where, you have to have that balance, because as you said, like good cops should not like bad cops, because bad cops mess it up for the good cops. Simple.
Bingo.
I
mean, I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed over the last couple of years with this whole Karen Reed thing and all these other cases too. I never had cops on my show. There were maybe the law enforcement against prohibition guy, Jack Cole. That was probably the only one, really. I had a judge on way back, but they were more like libertarians, Now it's just the last couple of years, I've had so many ex-cops, FBI, DEA, multiple Mass State Police, multiple FBI, tons of local cops, tons of cops, now they support what I do. They hit me up. They tell me, it's wild. I didn't expect that, actually. That's been something that has changed recently. Do you feel like that more law enforcement are getting this, or is it just maybe because my content changed?
Well, probably, at least for me, on the other side, in terms of racially, I don't get that, from a lot of, let's say, white cops, right? But I do have a great relationship with a lot of Black and Latino cops, some of whom, are still, on duty, and they are super careful and cautious because, they could still, they're already just being a Black or Latino cop, you have limited chances for promotion or this or that, right? But now if you're known as a person who's going against the grain, your chances are even slimmer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
a lot of people are very careful because of their own, career trajectory or family or what have you. And then also too, as we've seen in the movies and the Netflix documentaries and the this and the that, it's also not just some rosy, thing here. People get hurt. People have gotten killed, silenced, locked in jail. So I think people are very cautious about the big truth. But it is coming to, I think, a point where, almost like what happened in the Me Too movement, a lot of things that had just been silenced for decades is now coming to the head. And more people feel, emboldened and empowered to speak out on it, and I wish we could almost go back to with, showing our age. But when we were kids on 60 Minutes, even when somebody was, in fear of their life or whatever, remember they did that silhouette and then they changed their voice, right?
I
So
did that for a while. For
that's what we
Deeper
need
when
to
I had a
do.
real job. On WGBH, they did the silhouette for me. Like, he got busted for weed. He's the guy that did everything right, except he got busted for weed. He lost his career over weed. That they did that for me, the silhouette. That's funny.
See, we need to bring that back literally. And I mean, jokingly, but not jokingly, because I think there are people who have stories to tell, and could tell them eloquently, but need some sort of layer of protection.
Discretion. Yeah. They need protection. Yeah, I think maybe too, like, I always protect my sources. So I think people pretty much know that at this point too. So that's hopefully. Let's talk about what we're here for, which someone just said that they're all about Cox today. Cox is such a liar, is what we get. As a comment here, Cox so dishonest. You're seeing him. Um, because Alan Jackson has sent this report for Boston Police Commissioner Cox to the Boston Office of. No, he hasn't sent it. We want him to send it, but he sent it to the Post Commission. The Post Commission says Cox isn't a certified police officer. We can't review it. You have a suggestion to go elsewhere to the Boston Office of Police Accountability and Transparency. Can you talk about that?
Okay, so basically, for those who may not, be all the way in the know, the city of Boston is one of few municipalities, towns, what have you, cities in the state of Massachusetts where the commissioner or the head of the police department, the police chief, whatever, the head of that police department is actually not a sworn officer. Now, this could also be confusing too, because, Michael Cox used to be a sworn police officer, right? He was a BPD guy. He was in the command staff. He ran the internal affairs division for a while. But then, he left. He went to Michigan, Ann Arbor. Michigan, became the chief or what have you out there. And then in his coming back, he's now coming back as a civilian, no longer an officer. So this is why the Post Commission, rightfully so, said that we do not have jurisdiction over Cox in this case. What they also did say, though, that I thought was interesting is that they are looking to expand their powers as it relates to civilian leadership of police agencies. So that will be interesting to see what happens there, if that has to go back to the legislature or what have you. In Boston, when I was part of the Boston Police Reform Task Force, when we created this thing here, OPAT, Office of Police Accountability and Transparency, they do have the ability to look into both sworn officers, gun and badge officers, as well as civilian personnel. So I think that this might be something that is more fit for them. And as has been, recently reported, and I say recently and frequently reported, is that the OPAT has basically been stymied, if you will, in terms of cooperation from the Boston Police Department. Officers not complying with requests for information, or when they put recommendations forth, the recommendations are not upheld. I forget what the percentage was, but it was a high percentage, like 80 or 90% of them are rejected. And ultimately, the Boston Police Commissioner has, the say-so in disciplinary matters for BPD personnel. So it's a sticky wicket, and there's a lot of moving elements and pieces there. But at the end of the day, I think that there needs to be a discussion, and if OPAT can, well, a couple of things. One, regular Boston Police Department personnel should not be shunning requests by OPAT. That's number one. So that needs to be fixed. Second here is that the question of, does OPAT actually have the independence and the jurisdiction to actually bring in the commissioner himself for questioning in a case like this, which is what it looks like, from what's reported. This is a pretty clear-cut case of, dishonesty or non-truth.
Yeah, I think they should just do it, right? Like, who says they can't do it, right? So why not just do it?
Well, see, this is where it gets tricky. Once again, the OPAT, even though it's supposed to be an independent board, remember OPAT is still, commissioned by the city and the mayor. So Jamarhl Crawford, who is now the executive director of OPAT, is still appointed by the mayor. So it really depends on, in my view, and this is, it's one of those things politically. If there is a will for actual police reform and transparency and all that, this is a test. This is a test. If Jamarhl and this office of OPAT has its own independence in order to be able to raise the question of, first of all, the BPD in general has not been responsive to our recommendations and everything else, our requests for, investigations. So that's just the general thing. But then in this specific case, if OPAT actually has the authority to call in the commissioner himself and say, hey, we have questions. It's in the public. It's been in the newspaper. I mean, this is not a secret at this point, right?
Now, Ed Flynn's speaking about it. Like, you were on the show the other night on Mammalio's show with Larry Ellison and
Right.
the other folks, and they had Ed Flynn, mayor, a city councilor, talking about this. Were you surprised that he was saying the things he said about Hawks and the whole situation with because he said he wanted to see transparency for John O'Keefe. I thought that was such a good statement to make.
Yeah, and see, now this is, the Karen Reed thing is obviously it's a hornet's nest. But the story in and of itself, where you have an officer from the BPD who is dead, right, outside of the home of another BPD officer, while inside there were other officers of, a cornucopia who were present. And this being the biggest case that I can remember in the past several decades. And for the commissioner to say, kind of, I don't know, it just didn't seem all the way kosher. Everybody to me had to hear about it. I mean, once again, here I am. I'm in the hood. I don't normally care about the news of Canton. But for whatever reason, that case gravitated and captivated, a lot of people. And it showed, for a guy like me, a person who's been speaking about police corruption and so on and so forth for a long time, I actually was kind of like, oh, good. The white people got some. There you go. Now, see, told you. So there was kind of that moment.
It's kind of like welcome to the club type stuff.
Exactly.
That's the way it felt like to me too. Even I'm a white guy, but for my friends and stuff and people I know, it's like, yeah, you guys finally get it. You finally get what I've been doing for how many years? So now you get it because it's Karen. It's funny. It's just because, and a lot of the audience that came along here, they acted like Karen Reeves was the first time I ever I played one recently. It was 11 years ago. I was champion Chris McGowan. I still think that guy's innocent. The guy the black guy on Cape Cod. So funny.
I'm unaware of that one.
Yeah, that was oh man, I'm saying it wrong. Krista Worthington. Do you remember Krista Worthington?
Not off the top, no.
Yeah, that's a big one in Cape Cod, long time ago. But I mean, I can imagine how many people you've supported over the years.
Well, the thing too is, here in Boston, there was a whole thing like, the Boston police, have never killed anybody wrongfully or whatever. And, I forget what my list is at, but it's like, over 38 people. You know what I mean? So Boston, particularly Boston, does very well in terms of PR. And the Boston Police Department, particularly after the marathon. After the marathon, you would think every cop, has a cape. You know what I mean? So it has always been difficult to criticize police. It's always been extra difficult to criticize police in Boston. And then it became increasingly difficult after the marathon, right? So despite the fact of, some of these movies that we got out, shout out to, Sean Ellis, Trial 4, shout out to Joseph Bennett, from the joint that the Boston Globe and them did on the Mission Hill and Charles Stewart murders and all this type of stuff. But, despite the fact of these glaring examples in our face, some people still doubt, the reality. Could it be true? No, come on. It's human. There's good cops and there are really bad, despicable, disgusting, bottom of the shoe cops too. I mean, look, Patrick Rose, perfect thing.
BPD,
head of the union,
Boston Patrolman Association head. He's the head of the union.
Head of the union and a whole pedophile. But,
and they knew it and they covered it up.
Exactly.
For decades. It's just deep because it's funny. Some people go off the deep end and they think I'm glad you said that. There are good cops and there are not good cops, just like regular life. That's the thing. Some people think every single case is corrupt, and other people think every case is cops are right. It's like you have to actually look at the details. That's the key thing on a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely. And then there's also too just dumb mistakes. Right. Some people are just not so bright. Some people just, make simple, goofy mistakes that can then jeopardize an investigation or anything. I mean, so for instance, I don't know if it was nefarious or not, but whoever decided to collect blood, in the red cups, I'm not law enforcement. I've never went to law enforcement school or evidence collecting 101. I probably would have frowned on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think I might have drank with that guy out of those red Solo cups at Bridgewater State, actually.
And here's the
The guy
thing.
who lived next door. He lived next door. That's what I remember him for, is the solo cups, by the way.
And,
the
and
red
that's what I'm
ones.
saying. And here's the thing. Why do
Bridgewater
you have red
State
solo
keg
cups in
party.
your cruiser?
Yeah, well, because he's probably still does cake parties, I'm guessing. That's where I would see him. He's a good guy back then. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in years, but I mean, that's wild. Let's talk about Boston, because I want to stick to Boston, because that's where you're so known for. Like when Ed Flynn spoke out, he's the only city councilor that said anything about this, like in terms of transparency. What do you see on the rest of the city council? Are any of them going to ever say what Ed Flynn said about wanting transparency from, because this police chief is getting away with a lot. There's other things going on I'm hearing about in the background that nobody knows about yet. But there's also this other lawsuit where they basically stifled an internal affairs guy from doing a proper investigation of a cop that had a lot of shit on his record. Is that ever going to be looked into? Is Mayor Wu just going to let him get away with it? Or will that be looked into, because there might be a city councilor that might step up with Ed Flynn?
Well, first of all, so I don't want to say that Ed Flynn is the only one, because I mean, I've seen articles where other people have been, calling, for answers and all that. Obviously Ed Flynn was on the radio broadcast that you heard me on the other day, but there have been others
Who
as
are the
well.
others? Who?
I know that Ruth Z, Louisiana.
Ruthie.
Yeah,
I like her.
she was quoted in one of the Mass Live article, maybe from 2 weeks ago or maybe a week and a half ago, talking about how OPAT has kind of been stymied, and that it doesn't make sense if this thing is here and then it's not getting any response. I know Julia Mejia, and even though I don't agree with her on a lot of different things, but she has also been an outspoken critic of the BPD, and so I think that, particularly too with the way the city council works, like right now too. Look, it's about to be Thanksgiving, it's about to be Christmas, so nothing's gonna happen until, in my view, until after January. They just got through an election, you know what I mean? So it's really about to be what we need to see is the appetite for this next cycle. And that's when we can see, who's going to really call folks to the carpet and try to get answers to some of these questions.
So January, and we'll try to hit up. I want to try to hit up some of these city council members to talk more about this in public, like, because I like that Ed was talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could say too, with his experience too, being the son of the former mayor, I also do think that he and former city council president himself, I think that he also feels, I want to say, privilege in a certain way, but I think that he feels a little bit more empowered and emboldened to kind of, like he's, I'm Ed Flynn, you know what I mean? I think he feels, a little bit more empowered, and maybe a little bit more seasoned, than others. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. It's interesting. I talked to him the other day. I hit him up on social media, and he calls me up, and I'm just like, this is only the second time someone from Boston's ever called me on city council. Like, and you know who the other one was? Woo. Like, from social media. Like usually they ignore you, or they'll just stay with you on the social media. But Woo actually called me. That was before she was mayor, though. That was when she was. I think she was hungrier back then. I don't think she would call today.
I mean, nothing beats a fail but a try. I would try. I mean, I think from what I know, Mayor Michelle Wu has been very, there's a podcaster out there named Java with Jimmy. She goes, on with him all the time. She's not scared. She's not no punk. I think that she, feels more than capable of handling herself in from the Jim and Marjorie show to this or that. I just, if I were you, I would reach out. But I don't
Get her on a Howie Carr show.
now. Yeah,
I'll trigger them all. I'll trigger everybody.
Howie Carr's a special guy.
Yeah, he is. I like Howie. It's funny.
Yeah.
Our politics don't necessarily agree on all subjects, obviously, but I like that he exposes the corruption locally, especially the police stuff. I love that.
Well, he's a master at what he does. I could say that. Some of his articles, once again, even though I don't agree with it, the sentiment of it, he cracks me up. This guy is, he is, a throwback to all the stuff that I grew up on. You know what I mean? Like if Don Rickles had a column, you know what I mean? That's kind of exactly.
I saw Don Rickles. I mean, speaking of Don Rickles, I've mentioned I used to be a financial advisor when I worked at Fidelity in New Hampshire. It was like we were like almost like the first line. The brokers that answer the phone, take the trades, but not like the big money people, like your average mom and pa. So it's like cubicle land, but we're all licensed 7. So, but it's like cubicle land, that life, and they signed Don Rickles up to do commercials. And so they had to walk the floor, and he was saying such inappropriate shit that you would not believe. I guess someone quit. Like one of the big heads quit because he was so inappropriate. I just gotta say, like they were not expecting how inappropriate he was, and we were just laughing our asses off. Like, is this real? Is this real? Are they really bringing this guy through here to say like the worst inappropriate shit ever? It was hilarious. See these corporate suits, they were freaking the F out.
Way before cancel culture.
Yeah, but it was like you could see the corporates were like canceling each other over it. Like these, like the bosses, like you could see there was a meltdown when it happened. It was like, is this really happening? It's funny. And like the rumor mill went around the place, like the people talked about that for months.
That's great. I love Don Rickles was one of the greats.
He was. He sent that place into a tailspin.
What do you call himself? Mr. Personality.
Yeah. I can't even repeat the shit he was saying. Like, it would get me in trouble on there. Bad. Not good. But friggin' kind of funny because you see how the corporates lose their mind. All the average workers were just sitting there laughing our asses off. Like, they really did this? But I want to talk more again about Boston again. I mean, let's talk about Michael Cox, because I think this guy more than most people do. What's his background like? Tell us about him. And do you think he needs to go? Because this keeps coming up. Cox needs to go. What do you think about his performance too?
So, this is a very, for me, complicated type of thing. So, I knew Michael Cox back in the day. When I say knew him, like, knew of him. But so back in the day when the tragedy befell him, right? When, for those that do not know, he was a young, detective, patrol person, whatever you want to call it. But they were all out on a night, answering a call. And long story short, he got mistaken for, the mysterious black suspect. And he got beaten quite severely. And, I mean, when I say quite severely, I mean, like, injuries. He suffered internal injuries and, all this type of thing. It was, not a fun thing. After that, he had a lawsuit that went forth and, it all went through internally and all that. From what I know, and, obviously I was not on the inside of this, but he basically handled himself and tried to play it right, if you will. He didn't go super bombastic. He tried to follow, the protocols and so on and so forth. So that case went out and played out for a while. Long story short, later on, he was on the force and, rose through a couple of ranks. I think to the highest thing was at some point in the command staff, and if I already mentioned, in the internal affairs division. Then at some point left the BPD, went to Ann Arbor, Michigan, became the commissioner out there, or the chief out there. And then when the search was on for a new commissioner here, was in that, and came back here. Okay, bump. Now, what I know about Michael Cox in terms of a couple of things. I've been critical of a bunch of police commissioners. What I can say is I believe that Michael Cox is the smartest commissioner that we've had, meaning that if he and the last 5 commissioners had to play a game of Jeopardy to the death, I think he would win. You know what I mean? I think he is the intellectually the most
Thinking about who they
cerebral.
were. What about the woman there? There was that woman too, right?
Catherine
Over-
O'Toole.
no,
She went out to Seattle. She was
Yeah.
great, but no, I literally think.
I
like
would
said,
think it would be her, actually. That'd be my pick.
Okay, well, then it would be the two of
But
them.
I think he'd be second, actually. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think he's more intelligent than the other two dudes I'm thinking of.
I mean, look, I'm talking about Evans. I'm talking about Davis.
Yeah.
I'm talking about. I can go back, before. I'm talking about Roach.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
I think I
talking about
agree.
Willie
I agree.
Gross,
I think
So Cox is a smart guy, sharp guy, and he's also a straight-laced guy. So I had very high hopes for him coming in. When he was named as commissioner, I didn't feel bad about it. I was like, okay. So I always try to be fair and take a wait and see
totally.
attitude.
Actions
But now to wait and see is kind of we've waited
seeing.
and we've seen.
We have no
right?
seeing.
And so the thing is, I had hoped for him to be more of a champion of transparency, particularly based on his past experience. He too got beat up by police that he worked with.
I know.
So I had really hoped, and not just me, many people had hoped that he would be more of a gung-ho champion for justice. But I don't know, what we've seen thus far is a very standoffish. So it's difficult because I really like him as a person, a human. I like the guy. But as commissioner, there are some pretty huge areas that give me great alarm and concern. And not just with the police reform stuff, but now also too with this, once again, the Karen Reed thing. When it appears, based on the reports, it appears that there was just a complete lapse of honesty there. A complete moment of dishonesty, lies, denial. So those type of things that type of thing concerns me, and I don't know it to be of his character. To me, that seems to be outside of the character that I knew or assumed of him.
Like, do you think that there's some pressure on him from even the mayor on some of these things?
Well, anytime you're the commissioner of the Boston Police Department, there's always going to be pressure. And actually, too, I would say that the mayor might be the least pressure point. I would say things like, all the unions that you have to be beholden to.
Patrolmen's union.
Right. Yeah. And once again, and everybody goes there. Yes, there's the patrolmen's union, but there's also the detectives union. There's like 3 different police unions, right, that you have to deal with, and then there's, of course, the political pressure. And, any police department is one, moment of viral police brutality or one major, violent act in the community that is, takes it over the top, and having to deal with activists and all this coming on the scenes of press releases and, press conferences. And, so, yeah, he's under mega pressure. But once again, it's always how you were able to respond to it. Once again, this as a wrestler, right? Somebody's gonna try to do something, and you might say, "Oh, okay, that hurts." But now, what am I gonna do? So now I gotta roll.
There's always a counter. It's just like physics. It's like there's always a reaction to any action. There will be a reaction. It's just like. That's what it's about. It's a yin and the yang, right?
Exactly.
Push and pull.
This is what happens in politics. Same thing, and everybody is not as masterful at it. So sometimes, something comes out and people get caught flat-footed, and they don't have the appropriate response at the appropriate time or what have you. But at the end of the day, I think that Michael Cox, the Boston Police Department, has a lot of challenges. And I think it actually behooves them to get in front of it.
Totally.
As opposed to like the more you try to avoid and what have you, I think the worse it gets. So I would hope that they would really address these two most recent things. One being the non-answering to the OPAC, which was put there by the people for a level of accountability and transparency. And if you're not complying to their requests, that's one thing. And then the other thing is, clarify your statements around this. Kelly, is it Devers or Dever? I don't know how to pronounce her name.
We say it wrong too. I say it 3 different ways. I call her Devers, Dever, which is the right way.
Or it's Dever. Okay.
Dever, I guess, is where, yeah.
So, there needs to be a statement, because now, particularly with what has been reported, the FBI is saying, no, we sent you a message and we clearly stated, yeah, the person we were just talking about, that's this person. 2, the thing that it's actually in the doggone, the meeting log, it's in your Google Calendar, whatever, right? Bang. And then 3, to just feign ignorance of the biggest case, ever. Like, what? Let's do it. Karen who? Karen Reed? What? How do and to, with both of those officers involved in the department, I would think that would be something of note. But that's just me. I also could be wrong.
I'm sure it was. No, come on. I mean, we all know it at this point. That's what Ed Flynn knows it. That's what he's talking about. He needs to come clean on it all, because it's obvious. It's obvious your officer was killed. You're gonna want to know why. And especially when it happened in front of the house of your officer. So.
And that other officer too. I mean, it's I would say funny. Haha, but I mean, people talk about the other officer, whose house it happened at, Brian Albert, him being on the reality show.
There you go.
I'm a reality TV guy. I used to watch that show.
That's right. I did too. And that show is like an advertisement for the Boston Police Department with the Wahlbergs. It was like a such a big partnership. So like, we know that police chiefs are political. We know that they're political officers, basically, in a lot of respects. They're not. That's why they're not really police officers in the end. A police chief. It's political, and the biggest political partnership that's City of Boston, the Boston Police Department probably ever had, was that TV show, and Brian Albert was on it. So that's another reason why they were all up in this. The Boston Police Department and Cox and all of them, they were all up in this whole thing with Karen Reed because of who it was. You're so right.
Yeah, I mean, he was a known figure with the MMA and everything that he was doing. Yeah, so
They
Yeah.
even give him credit for helping catch the Boston Strangler. Like that's another piece of lore that always comes up about Brian Albert.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to see that because I saw the dog caught the Boston Strangler. Or like, okay, whatever. That's
Not
another
even
rabbit hole.
like got some proof. I don't think he actually. I think it
Right,
was like
because
he
that
got some
happened in
DNA.
like the fucking 20s or the 30s. Part of my language.
No, the Strangler didn't. I think you're thinking
What,
of someone else.
when was
Let
the
me look it
Boston
up.
Strangler?
Let's
Wasn't
look it
that
up.
like the 40s or so? The
No,
30s or the
well,
40s? It
I
was
think it
something.
was like the 70s actually, 80s.
The Boston Strangler?
Maybe
The
I'm looking at the
70s?
wrong one. Let me look at it. Let me look it up and see. The chat will tell us where I'm
Yeah.
wrong if I'm wrong. But I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay. And not for nothing for the chat, everybody, chime in. If you got some questions or something, hey, Cash App, $ Mike Crawford 1, or Venmo, Mike
Oh,
Crawford, TYJ.
you
Please.
promote.
Yeah.
Thank you for trying to get me some money. That's why I'm trying to look this up. I can't find it,
Hit the
but
like and
we'll
subscribe.
find the info. But you know what? I wanted you to actually promote like whatever you want to promote right now. Because are there any people in the community or any organizations, anything you want to promote right now, or even just talk about what you're doing? Anything, any way people can help you out too.
Okay, well, what I will say, one thing I would like to promote, and as you saw, because you saw me, on the Mam Leo show. So there's a great radio station, internet television thing, and it's called Boston Praise Radio. Now it comes out of a church. Now, I normally don't mess with churches and stuff like this generally and all this, but I happen to know the guy that runs it ever since I was a young boy. He was like my youth pastor. And all these years, he's been a stand-up guy and, for the community against violence and all this type of stuff. His name's Pastor Bruce Wall. So Pastor Bruce Wall has this radio station, Boston Praise Radio, but it's Boston Praise Radio TV.com or Boston Praise Radio.tv. I forget, but you gotta look it up. But that's where Mam Leo broadcasts and Sister Priscilla Flynn, Pastor Wall himself broadcast. So I just, anybody out there who likes talk, radio and now whatever these things we talk video podcasts, whatever the hell we're doing here, you know what I mean? I encourage you to go check it out. Might not be your thing. You might be like, it's a church thing or whatever, but particularly on the Mam Leo broadcast, it's wide based conversation. You know what I mean? Talking about politics and whatever's going on in the world. So that's one thing. Other than that, as you noted, I just got back doing the Feed the Hood before we did this thing. So every Sunday, basically since 11/11/11, back when it was Occupy the Hood, because it was Occupy Boston, and then I joined with Occupy the Hood, the nationwide thing. There was a sister named Ife who said, with all the Occupy the Hoods around the country, was like, yo, we got to figure out something that we can do in everybody's community, all these different skill levels. And so what was the one thing that everybody could do to,
Food.
Boom, a food program. Bang. So since 11/11/11, I've been doing that. There's been a couple of breaks, like if I'm sick, if there's been a blizzard, took a break during COVID, you know what I mean? This type of thing. But other than that, we've been doing this since 11/11/11 every Sunday and other days and whatnot. And that's what we do. So that's really it. Other than that, I just, I like your audience and everybody just stay on your own path and do the research and don't listen to the bull caggy. You know what I mean? You got to get your information for yourself.
And I just posted in the chat the Boston Praise. Actually, I'll just read it off so people know it too. It's bostonpraiseradio.tv. That's the website. They also get a bunch of social media links at the bottom of that page if you scroll. There's also a YouTube channel too that you can follow to get all those programs on there. I hope you do support them. I just played some of that interview that they had with Ed, and it was great. I love Larry. Think their show is phenomenal. I noticed Rhodes Pierre is on there. He used to be on this show, The Young Jerks. Do you know
Oh,
Rhodes too, Jamal? Have you met
yeah,
him?
of course. I know. I didn't know he used to deal with you as well. Okay.
Yeah, he used to be. He used to piss me off sometimes because he's a shit stirrer a little bit, but I love him. Like he's in a lovable way. Like I would feel bad because I would pick on people on the show a little bit at times, and way back in the day, it's hard to do a show with me all the time because I'll stop picking at you. I will.
Well, not for nothing. I mean, I really think you should call in on one of the Saturdays on the Mam Leo broadcast, and particularly if Rhodes knows you, I think he would that'd be a kick in the head.
I would. I like Rhodes. He's funny. He's a comedian too. I met him
Yep.
doing his comedy, and he's just. I always had fun with him. He was good on the show. I haven't had him on in a while. Maybe I'll hit him up too. I haven't. It's funny how you lose track of people after a while. You go on with your life, and then I saw him on there. I was like, holy shit, he's still doing it. Go
Yep.
Rhodes. So yeah, there's been so much stuff. We have it up here too. Let me put this up. Can I put this up from the Boston Herald? Actually, there was a Brian Albert angle on the Boston Strangler. Let's read. Let's see what the Boston Herald says about it. He's getting a generous pension, but what does it say? I saw it, but where is it? Hold on a second. No, it's way down. It's way down in his bio. Well, this is more about the case, but there was something about here. Where can I find it? Hold on. I'm still looking for it, but it's here somewhere.
Okay. Albert's career. Okay.
There it is.
Former Marine helped solve the
There it
Boston
is.
Strangler case in 2013, ending a 50-year misery. There's a water bottle that Albert received from a construction site ultimately led police to close the case of DNA evidence. I don't believe this shit for one.
I know, right? Isn't that suspicious?
A water bottle that Albert received from a construction site. Okay, and it was in 1964.
No, is that weird?
So the Boston Strangler was in the 60s? I really would have thought it was
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 60s. It was 60s. I thought it was 70s, but it's actually 60s.
I thought
But
it was early.
that is weird. That is you. I'm glad you called that out too, because the whole thing is weird. That whole thing is just strange.
A water bottle.
Yeah.
And not for nothing too. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
What type of water bottles did they have in the 60s?
I think glass. Everything was glass back then. Remember?
Yeah.
And even the 70s and like early 80s.
Yeah,
It was a lot of glass bottles. Plastic was like a new thing.
Right.
Like around, I bet around the 80s that
the
became
Coca-Cola
popular.
bottle and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Snapple bottles, remember that?
Yeah.
All glass. Everything was glass.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, right? That is weird.
Do you have anybody in your audience, the chat people who have any questions or any statements that we should chime in on?
Yeah, let's take a look. They're talking about the water bottle now. Everyone's agreeing with you that it was plastic. Some jokes about, no, he was not the Boston Strangler. I'm just looking to see do we have any questions, because I haven't been watching the chat, folks. So if you have any questions and I missed them, definitely post them now or comments you want to make. I want to thank LTL Media. He says, keep up the good work. Mike, he's doing a show tonight.
LTL Media. I've seen them during the
Karen
Reed stuff. I've watched a couple. So yeah, shout out to you, LTL Media. All right.
He's going to be doing a show at 5 tonight. We'll be watching him too.
Okay. What is LTL?
Oh, here's a question. Here's a question from Lorna. Says, "Is police?" We kind of talked about this earlier, Lorna. You maybe didn't hear it. Loma. Oh no, it's Lorna Lee. Lorna Lee, 9015. She says, "Is policing a licensed profession? Is Cox a licensed police officer?"
So yes, policing is a licensed profession. Up until a couple of years ago, when we got the thing passed, right? Everybody who becomes a police officer in Massachusetts, no matter if you're in Boston or Agawam or East Chucklefuck, Massachusetts, right? Anybody in the state of Massachusetts to become a police officer, you got a license. You became certified to become a police officer. What we had discovered these many years ago is that there was no mechanism to decertify or delicense. So what we talked about was, like a lawyer can get disbarred, like a medical professional, doctor can, lose their medical license, this type of thing. So that. Now, in the case of Cox, this is where it gets tricky because the Boston Police Department is one of the few police departments in the state, lucky us, that the commissioner, the head of the department, not police chief, think about this, not police chief, police commissioner, he is a civilian person. So now, also too, as it gets trickier, remember Cox used to be a cop back in the day. He used to be a cop, blue uniform, gun, badge, and all that. But he had left that years ago, went to another place, and then when he came back now as a thing, he's not an officer, he is a civilian commissioner. Are all previous commissioners not police officers? Okay, Kathy RX4R. That's reminded me of some Star Wars shit, so I just had to do that.
C-3PO.
But yes, that's the point. So every Boston police commissioner was not a police officer when they became a commissioner. Now, once again, follow me. Paul Evans was a police officer, but when he became a commissioner, he became a civilian. Willie Gross was a police officer, and then when he became commissioner, became a civilian, right? What's his name? The big guy, Ed Davis. Ed Davis did not come from here. Ed Davis came from Lowell. He used to be a cop like back in the day, but he came here as a civilian, right? So there are some, the commissioner that we had, my good brother, Dennis White, right? Who was commissioner for that short time. He was a police officer, but when he became commissioner, he stepped down as a officer and went to civilian duty for the commissioner thing. So there's a bunch of different ways that happened. Yes, there have been some who've been became commissioners from previous, and were previously police officers, and then there were others who were just, civilians, administrators, what have you, and come in under that. So it's a very interesting, and it's a conundrum. Let me give you this too for the people paying attention. As an activist and a reform guy, for a while, I thought I had this bright idea. And I was like, you know what? Why are police commissioners not elected? We should have an elected police commissioner. Police commissioners should have to run to be police commissioner. Boy, did I speak to some of my elders and mentors and legal professionals on why that was a horrible idea. Okay. Because now came in the influence and the money interest and the this and the that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's interesting because we have, elected sheriff, elected
DAs.
DA, or
that's
what
the
have
problem
you.
with the DA system. Yeah.
So it becomes a big, this is a big sticky wicket, a political conundrum, if, depending on how deep folks want to go. But yeah. So thank you for that question, Karen. Thank you.
I got some more questions for you. I got one from me and then some other comments are coming in. Diana DiZoglio, the state auditor, tried to pass this state audit. It passed overwhelmingly, like the biggest vote I've ever seen for an initiative. And the state didn't implement it. They're saying it's not constitutional. Now she's going to, she just threw $100,000 of her own campaign money into this campaign to basically put it on the ballot again. And this time it'd be different. Instead of auditing the state house, she's going to require the governor and the Mass legislature to actually abide by freedom of information law. They're going to have to abide by FOIA's, they're going to actually have to answer the constituency. I feel like the reason why we get so much information from the Canton Police and the Mass State Police and the Boston Police is because they have to answer the public requests that we send them. The State House, the governor, they do not. Do you support something like that? Would you? Are you telling people to support it? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And she's one of the few public figures. Like, I've never gotten to meet her, but I think she is a spitfire. She, from what I've seen in the reports, and once again, I would hate to be wrong later and then find out she's like, a scumbag or something. You know what I mean? But
I do. You sometimes get disappointed when you go to bat for some of these people, unfortunately.
She seems to be quite courageous in this fight, and from all that I've seen, the fight, I support the fight, which is, transparency and accountability. Should the State House, the legislature, be subject to an audit? I think, yeah. You know what I mean? Just like everything is subject to an audit. Hey, not for nothing. Oh, I wish I had this piece of paper here. Do you know I just got a levy from the taxes, right? Did my camera just went in and out? I blurred.
A little bit.
Okay, because I said taxes. It's the IRS and already.
They're on your video feed.
But I just got a levy on one of my bank accounts, right? For a tax amount that I owe. Ask me how much the amount is.
One of your bank accounts. Depends how much is in your bank account.
Well, joke's on them. But but they did this for $209.
God. They went after you for $209?
$209 and like 38 cents. And it was just and they just had sent me the notice in May. Now, to my own, thing, I forgot about it. It was in my other pile of junk papers, whatever.
It happens.
And then, boom. But that was just May. It was just May. So 6 months later, $209, and you're already levying my bank account for $209.
I think that happened to me one time. I forgot to file like some extra little side gig I got. It was like $100 or something, and like a 1099 or whatever it was. They came after me for. It's funny. Yeah, they'll get you if you forget something.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And so the point is that while they're doing that, meanwhile, the State House is like, no, we can't be audited.
Hey, and how much money is missing there? Gee.
Way more than $209.38, I'll wager.
I can't wait for them to try to stop the FOIAs. It's like the governor's going to have to answer now. They're so used to getting away and doing all this stuff that nobody ever gets to see what they're doing. It's going to be wild.
I just saw the documentary, The Age of Disclosure. So I'm just waiting for. Oh yeah, this is the big UFO thing and everything. So
are you into the UFOs?
Oh yes, I can't wait till they show themselves so that all of our debt is wiped away, because then it won't matter anymore. Right?
You're into the UFO. See, I'm not. Like, it's funny. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
No, well,
I'm interested, but I don't trust any of these whistleblowers. I'm like, how do you know they're not CIA? That's what I always think.
No one knows enough about it. But at the end of the day, we are not alone in the universe. That's just duh. Yeah. That's just.
Yeah, but can they get here? That's the thing. Like, when you realize how far away people are.
I mean, shit. How did we get here? I mean,
yeah, but then how long are we going to be here too? Like, by the time you get advanced technology, it seems like you blow yourselves up. I think that could be the issue. Look at us, like this AI shit. Like, it's getting wild. It's going to get wild. Who knows? I don't know. I'm still undecided.
Yes.
But we're talking about Boston. I got to stick on Boston. We promoted we promoted the radio station, BostonPraise.tv. Tell us again, though, because I want to hear about the feeding the hood stuff, because that was your big thing. I love that when you did, because there was Occupy Boston, and then you jumped on Occupy the Hood, which I really liked, especially the food stuff. Like, how do people help you out and support you if they want to jump on that?
I mean, other than just looking me up on, like, I'm a real guy, I'm a regular guy. So
Yeah.
other than
You're
looking
on
me up on
Facebook,
Facebook
right?
or something, yeah. And so I go do it every Sunday. So anybody want to come on a Sunday, hit me up. You know what I mean?
So it's Sundays. I'm gonna. Do you mind if I post your Facebook on all that too?
No, I mean, it's my name. My name, anyone
Yeah.
can find me anywhere with my name.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
post it in the chat too. So if anyone wants to
yeah,
hit
anyone
up
can find me.
Jamarhl.
You know,
And are there any other, like you talked about people who got murdered by police and things like that?
yeah. So
Because we
that's a
know that
big
happened a
deal.
lot.
Yeah. So damn, I don't even know if my website is still, because I need to do a major website fixer upper. But the website used to be shotbypolice.blackstonian.org. I wonder if it's still functioning right now. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who were shot and killed by Boston police. And to tell this little story, if you guys know the comedian Jeff Ross, who does all of the comedian, what do you call it, the comedy roasts,
The roast.
roast of the celebrities, right?
Yep.
One of his things, and you can get it on your streaming services or whatever, one of his things he did was roast the police, and he actually did that in Boston. And as he said, he went around the country and was trying to get police people involved. No one would do it. He said the only people that had the balls to do it was Boston. Now, this is when Commissioner Billy Evans was the commissioner, and they went around and they did the little comedy sticks and all this, and and then it culminated at a comedy show down there in the seaport at the comedy thing, whatever. And I'm a jokester, and everything was a great thing. It was funny. It was all that. Now my only problem is, as an activist and as a revolutionary, is how much mistruth was in there, right? So it is still up. Great. There you go. So Jeff Ross, he said in that thing, shout out to Boston Police Department, because they're the only police department that in 28 years hasn't killed anybody or something like that. But it's just not true. Now, some of these cases, you can get, and some of them, first of all, are also not Boston. So this list is Boston and beyond. Some of these are also greater Boston and suburbs and shit like that. But the Boston ones, right? The Boston ones. Two are things where people say, oh, well, they didn't have, partisan. They never shot anyone who basically didn't deserve it, right? Like who wasn't armed or in an act of some sort of dangerous or crazy thing. But when you go through this list, you will find many of these people were unarmed. Many of these people were in various stages of having some sort of, mental issue. And in one of the cases, that was my dude I grew up with. One of the cases, my dude G-Lo right there. And in one of the cases of one of the families I got really close to, they had a man who, had his own struggles, but he was like a regular worker guy. But, he had, been in and out of getting high or something like that. But he, had a job. He, you know what I mean? He was not no thug. He was, he was, a penny loafer and trench coat type of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one day they caught him on Blue Hill Avenue, not far from where I am now. And the police saw him and they believed that he was either, soliciting a woman for some sex or potentially buying some crack. Whatever. They put the blue lights on him, woo, and he pulled off. The woman was kind of like in his window, whatever. He pulled off, left her there, skeet, and went off. Long story short, they chased him all the way from here in Roxbury on Blue Hill Avenue and chased him all the way out there to, what is this place called? Rockland, Mass. And they ended up shoot. There he is. He'll keep go down. Go down. One more. There he is. No, part of self. That's Burrell Ramsey. Part of self. No,
Batista,
no.
keep going.
Yeah, keep going. There he is, right there. Boop, boop. Go up, right there.
Mark
McMullen. Yep. So they chased him from Blue Hill Ave here all the way out there to Rockland against all department protocol. You're not supposed to do high-speed chases. You're not supposed to go out of city limits, this, that, the other. The cop is on, with the dispatch. The dispatch is telling them, yo, chill out. What the fuck are you doing? Stop. And this cop was so incensed that he followed this man all the way out there. And then, of course, this man ends up getting shot and killed on the side of the road on, one of them grassy things on the side of the highway type of thing. And the cops made the age-old excuse, well, the car lunged at us. And they shot that vehicle up. But, fun facts, all the bullets were in the side of the car, not towards the front of the car. So anyway, another story of another, black man dead, song's over. And here you go in that guy's case. A guy who, once again, what do we say? Did he have a gun or he had no gun and he had no drugs? Nothing. So
this one was an accident. They admitted this is Uri Stamps Sr.
Yeah, Uri Stamps. That was in Framingham, right? Grandfather. Yep.
They went to the wrong house and they shot him, right?
Yep. They paid a settlement for that. But I bet you if you talk to that family, they would give that settlement back to have their grandfather back.
68 years old.
Yep.
We get shot by the police. That's awful.
Yep.
Wow, this is 19 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, we just keep going through. It's just all black men. Just all black men.
Yep.
Killed by the police. It looks like this guy's a Hispanic, almost white.
Well, I was gonna say no. That's a good one. So stay on that one. Luis Gonzalez, right? So now here he was a veteran. We just had Veterans Day, right?
Oh wow. Yeah.
He was a veteran. He had a mental thing, whatever. The people in the building called the police. They told the police before they got there, listen, he's having an issue, but this is our neighbor. He's a good guy. Normal thing. 20, 30 minutes later, he's dead. From people who had called for help to help this man in his thing. And they told him, they was like, yo, he's a vet. Sometimes he's not on his meds or whatever. And they killed him. Oh, and also fun fact too, one of the people who was in on that of killing him was actually one of the worst decorated cops in Boston Police Department history, which, do you remember Keeler?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Danny Keeler?
Yep.
Danny Keeler responded to that call, sir.
We wonder why these things happen. There's a woman, actually.
That's the one, Barrow Cepeda, and I'm so glad I got this better picture of her, because before that, I did not have a good picture of her. Police tried to pull over this vehicle, and whatever happened, the people basically like skeeted off on her. Okay, she's in the back seat. She's not driving. The police chased the vehicle and shot through the vehicle, and they didn't get the driver, who was one of the people they wanted, or the passenger in the front seat, who was one of the people who they wanted. When they shot through the vehicle, who did they kill? The innocent young girl who was a mother of 2 kids. This is why for the BPD now we're supposed to have the law, which, it is a law, but, they don't always follow it, which they are not supposed to shoot at a fleeing vehicle. But it's happened about 3 or 4 times since then.
It just keeps going. It's like name after name after name. It's unbelievable.
Yes. Yup. Wow. And I mean,
all these men, mostly men, been killed by cops.
Yup.
Keeps going on and on. We could be here all night going through them all. This is shot by police .blackstonian.org. I'll put it in the chat if people want to check that out. Definitely look at the list. It just goes on and on and on.
And any more questions? Anybody else in the chat? What's up? What's up, chat?
I know. What's up, chat, right? I think we do have some more questions. Hold on. Let me go back to the chat and see. I guess they're asking about Cox, so that he was appointed. He's appointed by the mayor, right?
Every commissioner is appointed by the mayor. Every commissioner is appointed by the mayor, for sure.
And Cox's boss is the mayor who appoints him, right?
Yeah.
Does the city council have any say on that?
They can call them for hearings or what have you, but yeah, no, they don't have any say. So that's another thing. That back when I had the bright idea where I thought commissioners maybe should be elected, which was bad. But then I thought about a thing where I called mission commissioner, where at least a commissioner, like when we do the Boston Public School superintendent search, that generally they whittle it down to like a field of like 3 or 4 people, and then these people go to various community meetings around, and the people grill them and throw pebbles at them. And so I was hoping
see how they react. Yeah,
you're right. I was hoping at least that there would be some sort of thing where, if not elected police commissioners, that there at least could be some sort of way that the final people who are in the mix to be commissioners would have to do some sort of series of community forums to interact with the public, to kind of gain a public, if people are for them or not for them.
Build trust, and it helps build, like, when they finally get the job, it feels like they earned it with the people and themselves. There's like a buy-in from both sides. That makes so much sense to do it that way.
There you go.
Especially if people feel like they were heard and they picked the right guy, or lady, whoever it is. It's just, that makes sense. I mean, they're kind of I hope they're doing that in Canton. They're starting to do a select thing for their next police chief. And I think that's part of it, hopefully, is that they bring, because I know they're starting to whittle it down to finalists, and I hope that's the next step there. They do the same thing. Another question from Kathy. She wanted to know, how many cops get disciplined? A lot of cops have been disciplined now through the post, right?
Yes. Yeah, and once again, let's just pay attention here. Once again, the post is statewide. So you could see in your newspaper or whatever, some, jerk off in Springfield or whatever, Agawam or whatever, Worcester, whatever, but then, they're brought before the post or what have you. And so it has been happening widespread around, the state. Here in Boston, I think that OPAT recently, in one of these articles, I think it was maybe on Mass Live, that they have already fielded basically hundreds of complaints. But the problem is that those complaints are not getting so if they get a complaint and then they say, we recommend, discipline here, whatever, it's all not being adhered to or being overturned or what have you. So they're getting a fair amount of complaints, and they could probably could and would get more complaints if more people even knew that they existed, because that's another problem. A lot of people don't even know that these mechanisms exist. You know what I mean? That's kind of a, it's a conundrum. So at the state level, a lot of police have been getting decertified and sanctioned statewide. Boston, couple via the statewide thing, but mainly the Boston mechanism, the OPAT, has not really been able to sink its teeth in the actual discipline. You know, the discipline doesn't stick, if you will.
Some kind of bite with that. Has to have a penalty.
Right. And you could propose a penalty, but if the penalty is not followed, then what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Here's a question about or a comment from Debbie Blair. She said Alan Jackson sent a letter to Wu about the situation, and guess what? No response. Post Commission responded, but Wu didn't respond. And Alan Jackson just said that on Brother Council's show. We could play a little clip of that. What do you think about that? That Mayor Wu did not respond to Alan Jackson's letter he sent her.
As he knows, as the consummate legal professional that he is, I just think that was kind of a thing where she kind of almost didn't have to respond because it was addressed incorrectly, if you will. So now, if it more specifically goes to the OPAT and Michelle Wu, I think that might solicit a different response. But I do not know. I do not know. I know that Alan Jackson is a hell of a lawyer, has a great head of hair, and looks great in a suit. And when he writes those letters, they're artful. In this case, once again, because Cox is not under the thing of the Post, it was just a little misfire.
OPAT. Take it to OPAT, the Office of Police Accountability and Transparency in the City of Boston. Civilians that are on this committee, right?
Right. So I think that might be the better venue for it. But also, too, that also does not mean that that's a win. It's just
they might not
the better venue.
But at least you can push it. You can get the story going a little longer against Cox too. That's the other thing I like is the press angle, because it did create a lot of press about the Post Commission. Now it's like keep it going, keep the pressure on Post and go to OPAT too. I like it. It's a good idea. I hope they do it. Here's another question for you from Sue B. Doobie. Or if I read that right, it was a Sue B. Yeah, it is Sue B. Doobie. I like that. Hey. Question for Jamarhl.
I be Doobie.
Yeah, we like doobies. Do you know why police don't use it? We have a lot in common. We got the name Crawford. We were born in the same year, we found out. Same year as Tupac, by the way. And we like the doobies. But the question for you, Jamarhl, is do you know why police don't use a taser before a gun in these situations?
So as I understand now, Boston Police Department, and it was weird because remember, like the body camera thing and all this type of thing, there were certain things that we would think that would be common sense, but it's only recently that Boston Police Department actually got issued tasers, if that makes sense. Boston Police Department only got issued tasers recently, and I still don't know that everybody has them. Like patrol people that you encounter on the street, I do not know that everybody has them. So a lot of the, what I'm going to say, like the non-lethal things that they have, I'm very not in the know about that. Let me give you this, for instance. If you remember when the young white girl got killed, at the Red Sox thing, Vanessa Snellgrove, remember that she got killed by a non-lethal weapon, quote unquote. It was a pepper spray pellet gun. Now, even the manufacturers did not know that this thing could be lethal, right? But it just so happened that cop, when he fired it off and at that angle and just by the dumb luck of everybody's horrible day, the pellet went in the soft the soft part of her eye, and I guess hit her brain and died. But generally, this is not supposed to be a lethal weapon. So even pepper spray pellets sometimes could be lethal. Tasers.
Close the shot is too. That's another thing. Like that, there's like a training element, I believe, now for police officers where they have to actually get training to use some of these things, right? I mean, that's also, I heard, a new thing. So
And what type of taser are you talking about? We see a lot of the
Exactly.
videos if you're watching YouTube, like me. Other states, they have the ones that put the and they shoot out the wires, or do you want somebody to have direct contact taser, or you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things in that. But generally, why do police not use a taser before a gun in these situations? In the training, and for I don't know if you are know about guns and anything like that, but it's just the same way like with guns. It's the same way where people say, why don't they shoot them in the kneecap? It's not how they're trained. They're trained to shoot
trained to
for
take
center
out
mass.
the target.
Take them out. Center mass.
Yeah.
It really, if you have to shoot more than 3 times, the way that they view it, you're a failure. But yeah, no, it's to stop the threat. And also too, I gotta also too say that this is why I couldn't be a cop. Once again, I watch these videos on YouTube and stuff. People are crazy, cops are crazy, whatever. I'll do whatever for me and my daughter, whatever. But all this other stuff, you can get it bad going to the gas station trying to get you a slushie. You know what I mean? So it's just a bad world out here now.
You got to be careful now.
You got to be careful.
There's a question. Does Jamarhl have thoughts on who should be the next commissioner after Cox? You? I think he's thinking of himself. How about Jamarhl Crawford? Yeah, I like that idea. That would be so cool. That would be so cool.
Since you don't have to be a sworn officer, right?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. That'd be
Jamarhl will straighten him out.
That'd be a riot.
I love that. How much does that pay?
Well, not enough for me.
Can they afford you? That's what I say. Can they afford you? Because you're in other business now too.
No. I just mean for me to take that job, gee whizzers, I'd lose all my friends, everything. But no, but it pays quite handsomely. And then any commissioner too, also too, after you're the commissioner of Boston Police, like Ed Davis or whatever, you can go off, you write books, you're a security consultant, you're you can go to Mars with Elon Musk and lock that down, whatever. But no, who should be the next commissioner? I would like to see, first of all, as I've said before, when this was going on, I would like to see somebody who is not from Boston. I would like to see someone who is not rank and file, a cop. I would like to see someone who is really kind of a hard-nosed administrator person. Somebody who is going to straighten out this ridiculous overtime situation, like somebody who wants to cut the fat. You dig? Because the Boston Police Department has one of the largest budgets in the city. And yet, we could say it's not living up to the standards of what, look, they could do the job of policing better for less, right? But there's so much, pork in the thing.
Much fat.
Yeah, it's getting so screwed up. And as even they will tell you, the good police, they will tell you, look, every year they're losing more people via, retirement, and this and that, and the other. New cadres are not coming in. And then also too, why don't people, yes, justice for Justin Root. Absolutely. And I don't know
one you have on your website.
Yeah, I don't know if that's his sister, but yeah, shout out to her if that is her.
Yeah, I've met her, Jen Root.
Yeah, Root. Exactly. Yeah, good peoples.
We'll put that back up. We'll try to get that back up on the screen too. I'll put that back up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jamarhl. I'm sorry.
So at the end of the day, it's who to see for commission. what I would almost like to see is more of like an honest takeover of like the unions and all these people who make it. So, like for instance, if 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 we knew a way that we could stop violence in Boston with 100% assurity, right, for the next year, but the Boston Police Department had to take a 10-cent pay cut out of their check every week, you know that they'll fight you in the street over that, right? And that's, to me, one of the problems, like with the union thing. I like unions in order to, but it has to also to make sense. We can't always be on a exponential upswing where it's just raise after raise after raise after raise, but there's no quality of service. You know, the once again, the accountability, the transparency, all of these things, they have to be, to me, balanced and commensurate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I'm like so pro union, but except for like cops, I think. Like I don't know. I mean, I could be persuaded. I have talked to some union guys who are cops, and they make sense too, actually, because they're the ones who are calling out the lack of like, you know, for cops. A lot of times they don't give them, certain departments don't give them any mental health. They don't give
Right.
them any. So there is a need for unions, but it's just weird how much power they have and how it's used in bad situations in some unions, but other unions are good. So I can't be, you know, I
Well,
can't definitively say. It's a tough subject.
so as an activist, okay, so for me, when everybody loves education, right? You know,
I do.
we like books. Kids should read. Reading's good, right? All this type of stuff. Spelling, math, that's all good, right? When we want to do fucking changes in the educational system, who's the number one problem with it? The teachers union. You see what I'm saying? Now I
Yeah.
want to fight for teachers because teachers get paid, you know, a piss poor amount.
Get paid enough. Yeah.
They get treated like shit. So on the one hand, I'm with the teachers union, but then when it comes time to us, like just for me, when we were trying to push for like Black history in the schools, or you know what I mean, civics across the board or whatever, you know, this type of thing. Oftentimes we would find that the number one people against it was teachers union. Same thing with police reform. Police reform. Hey, you know, we want to do police reform. Who was one of the people against it? Police unions. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So it's always this thing, and here's another thing I always joke about, because I have friends who are police and fire, and the fire people always they get they get the sweet end of the stick, and I always say, well, that's because young Black men aren't ended up dead because they got chopped with an axe. All right. So the fire department doesn't have the stigma that the police department does, because the police department often engagements end in these violent interactions that end in death. And the worst thing that we've heard about the fire department is, you know, there's a fire in your building and, you know, they steal your jewelry that you thought was still there in the room.
But even that, I don't think that really, I don't know.
Well, that's what happened.
Heard that many stories.
When I was a kid, that happened, but not nowadays, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, like when's the last time you heard a story like that about a firefighter? Not often.
Right.
Not often. I hear that about police a lot though,
Right.
especially from people who are in like say the drug business or the gang
Right.
business.
Right.
They would often say like, yeah, you know, it's funny, the cops came in and there was $30,000 there, and they said I only got caught with $5,000. Like, you know, because they took 25 grand. Like cops will lift it. So, and I never hear that. I've never heard that about firefighters, especially with the cannabis stuff. But back in the day, I did a lot of reporting on people who got busted. They tell me their stories. So it's funny, but I had a friend who died, who was a firefighter in Boston. His name was Ed Walsh. He's a great guy. I knew him in college. And it's sad too when firefighters die. Like that's so like It's horrible, horrible. It's horrible when anyone dies at work, whether it's a police officer, firefighter, or anybody. They should
Another
always come home from work.
another job I couldn't do because if I see this triple decker over here burning, if it's
You're
not my
running in the other
grandmother,
direction.
yeah, if it's not my grandmother or my daughter in there, you
You got to
want
be
the
a little
whole
crazy
jack.
to go in there. Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah. I probably could do it. I am a little crazy. Like the only thing I don't like is heights. Actually, that's the part that I don't like. I'd run into the building, but I'd be afraid to climb the ladder. Like what is? That's the only thing I get afraid of. Actually, I used to do the ropes in high school. I would do that, but I would go up so quickly and come down so quickly. Like I'd just be like, phew. I don't like the heights. Um, anything else you want to bring up tonight before we let you go? It's been like 90 something minutes you've been
I
here.
love it.
95 minutes. You've done very well and people like you. I'm just wondering anything else we want to touch on before I let you go tonight.
Well, no, I just want to do one more round of making sure that anybody else in the chat, does anybody, because this is the part that I like, really interacting
Answers the
with
questions.
people. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to say? Even if it's just to say, hey, Jamarhl, you're quite sexy. It's okay. Whatever you'd like to put out there.
Debbie enjoyed having you on today. She enjoyed
Thank you,
this.
Debbie Blair.
They want to know if you're on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
I'm an old man, so I used to have it. I don't even remember. I haven't been on Twitter since before when it was Twitter.
You should get on there. I tagged you the other day. I know you have a Twitter, but you're never on there. I wish you were.
Never on.
I did post your Facebook, which people should definitely follow. It's pinned in the chat right now. And you do sometimes live videos. I see you going to different events. You'll speak on things.
Right, but mainly Facebook, and it's sad because I'm trying to get like y'all where I start, see it. Subi.
See, you got one. Sue like the Subi Doobie. You probably smoke some weed together too. Here's another one I like. This one's a good one, Jamarhl, because said you guys are like brothers, great vibe together. We say distant cousins, but you are a brother to me because I remember I got myself in a little jam at one point. We won't even talk about what it was, but you were there for me. You answered my call. You gave me good advice, and you helped me through it, and it worked. And it was like, you're a good man. I just really appreciate you. So I do consider you like a brother because of that.
Give thanks, and not for nothing too, for all the audience and everything too. This is the thing, because I, have been maligned over my thing, like he's anti-cop. Now I got cops who are like, oh shit, he's really not anti-cop. You know what I mean? Or white people was like, he's anti-white or this or that. But what it really comes down to is when people get to know me, is that I'm anti, wickedness. I'm anti-unrighteousness. You know what I mean?
Stupidity. That's the other thing you're anti. Another thing I know about you. You don't like stupidity. That's the other thing, which I like. I agree. Like people can be just stupid and you just call it out. And if they can't deal with it, they can't deal with it.
Yo. And I mean, it's so critical, particularly in this day and age. Oh yeah, here you go. When we were kids, we, watched sci-fi and shit. And remember, Star Trek, computer. What is this? The surface of Venus. You know what I mean? But now we literally have that shit. We literally now have, infinite knowledge at our hands. But what do most people use it for? Booty pics and you know what I mean?
Dick pics, yeah, the dick pics
and all this type of craziness. So all I'm saying is that particularly like this Karen Reed case, this, police reform, all of these type of things, if you find a subject that you are interested in, research it. And when you hear a guy like me talking about this or that or whatever, don't believe me. I could be lying to you. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah. Go look it up on your own, and then you'll be like, oh shit. Wow, there's actually some merit to that. So this is how we need to to me, we just need to kind of like cultivate a better audience that is thinking. We don't want, mindless drones out there. We want people who are going to be able to think for themselves. And even a guy like me, like I just said, I'm sexy. Somebody might say, well, no, you're not. That's bullshit. That's okay too. You know what I mean? I might say,
Right.
this is the truth.
I don't think
Somebody
you're
might say,
sexy,
that's
man.
bullshit.
I don't think you're sexy.
I don't think you're sexy
sorry.
either. See,
I'm not offended.
we agree. But you see,
We're right on there. There you go.
People who are, we have different truths. We have.
I gotta
different-
say, God bless any women out there that think Jamal's sexy, though. I'm down with that. If women
Yes, God
think
bless
Jamal's sexy, God bless you. Same with me. If any woman's actually into me, I'm just like laugh my ass off. Good luck. Or men, I'll be flattered by that. Even I don't care who likes me. It's just
Okay.
But we have a couple other questions. They want to know, number one, are you a Capricorn? What do you have a sign? Is that
I'm an Aquarius. January 22nd.
There we go. Jamal, was the cop that shot your friend in Rockland last name Carr? BPD officer?
See? I like Leah. Yes, Leah, it was Chris Carr. Yes, Leah, it was Chris Carr. Who's problematic on multiple cases. He's actually, because I don't think he's there anymore. He got moved. For a minute, he got like a little damn near a promotion or some bullshit, or a cushy assignment, not a promotion like in rank, but like he got a cushy assignment. But yeah, he's he's a connected person, and yes, but Leah, yes, you paying attention. I like it. Chris
Like
Carr.
it. We got the right people here. Another one, Battle Royal says, where did you go to school?
I went to a lot of schools. My mother spent a lot of money. As a young person, I went to all the premier schools that you could think of. The Park School, the this, the that. I got kicked out of all of them because of this mouth. And later on, when I was, being, more adulthood, I went to Don Bosco. That was probably the last one I got kicked out of. And then that's when the only school that would take me was Boston Public School. And then I went to UMANA. I went to UMANA in East Boston. And then I went there, smartest kid in the class, all A's, but I got kept back in the 9th grade 3 times in the 9th grade because of my attendance getting suspended and I finally advanced to 10th grade, and then I got kicked out in my first month of 10th grade, went and got my GED, and then I went to RCC. Boop.
Shit's came. We keep trying to wrap it up, but
No, I like it. I
keep
like
coming
it.
in for you now.
Let's go.
One is from Kathy. She says sexy for sure. Thumbs up. So you're getting some sexiness tonight. They are responding to that.
That's what I'm talking about, Joel. That's what I'm
Oh,
talking.
maybe both of us. All right, we're both sexy.
If they haven't said that before, though, I think that's more me than you. But unless they're saying you're sexy on every broadcast, I think that it's really me bringing the sexy.
That's right. You're bringing it out of me today. And I didn't have to use the usual. Sometimes I'll use the what do you call that? The filter. Some of the shows that ladies get shit for filter. I was using a filter too.
There's
nothing wrong with using a filter.
The filter fish.
Yeah, you got to do the filter fish. I don't know. I think I turned it off because it was laggy or something. But I'm down for it. Let the ladies use the filter. Don't give them crap.
Lord, how do you follow in Facebook?
Yeah, how do we follow you on Facebook? I put the link, but it says friends and message, but no page. What is that?
Oh, you know what it is?
What is it? Do I get the wrong page up?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's my name, Jamarhl Crawford. Should be easy, but you have to probably send me a message because I'm so popular that my friends thing is almost filled up.
Yeah, no, I got the right one up. That's right. Yeah.
All right, but literally, if anybody just sends me an inbox, then I'll be able to, and you say, hey, I was, just on the Cousin Crawford show, the Cousin Crawford Variety Hour, then we'll know. But yeah,
We're getting more. I'm sorry, he's adorable. They love you. And like I said, we have a lot of women in the audience and they're loving you right now. Here's another comment. Why doesn't Jamarhl do videos on YouTube? I think that's what he's doing tonight with us.
And now
But
for I'm
you
trying
have
to
your
figure
own
it out.
YouTube video section too? Do you have your own channel?
I have a YouTube channel, which is YouTube slash Jamarhl C, which you'll see most of my, you can see all sorts of stuff, old Feed the Hood stuff, my rap videos. For those that don't know that I rap, do poetry, all this
Right,
stuff.
you did rap. You were controversial too. Some people took it very seriously.
I still rap. I rap. I rap. So, yeah, but I haven't really figured out the science of going like live streaming on YouTube, which I'm actually trying to figure out. I have StreamYard. I have all this stuff. What is this here? Can I see this? Oh, it doesn't even see. Oh yeah, look, I have all this. I have all this equipment, and I'm just a procrastinating. Hey,
I think what we should do is have you on here more, and if we start making money off it, we can cut you in. If we get more than we have tonight, our audience has gone down a little bit since Karen Reed. So, but
and not for nothing, for all you ladies, look for me on OnlyFans.
OnlyFans? Are you really? Oh no, you're not.
No, that's a joke.
I knew you wouldn't be. You're too much of a prude. You're like me. You're like that. I took off my shirt one time for Robbie Roadsteamer, for comedian, and people give me a hard time because in the video I'm like rubbing my neck. It's Revere Beach. So I'm at the beach video. You're allowed to take off your shirt, but the thing about the video, Jamarhl, you like this, is usually in most of the rap videos, it's the guys pouring the beer on the girl's breast.
Yeah.
Well, this time it was a girl pouring it on my breast, and I was like this. It was a joke. And that's the one time I take off my shirt, and people get very excited about that video. I don't know why, but like I'm like you. I don't take off my shirt normally. I'm guessing you because I know you. You're kind of conservative. You used to be a Black Panther, but you are kind of conservative, which is funny.
The closest I get to that is when I drink beer and I dribble,
smoke
and
the
it
weed
goes on my breasts.
There you go. You smoke a little weed. Yeah.
I drink a little beer.
Yeah. I love it. You're like me. We were a lot alike. It's so funny.
I'm a grown man. I'm an old man, and I got a daughter. My daughter can't see anything. No, and not for nothing too. But in all seriousness, I do strive to conduct myself in a certain way where we have fun and shoot the shit and blah blah blah. But I do always conduct myself in what I'm going to say in order becoming of a Black man, because at any moment I think that, I have to be on deck and on duty. And, I'm always going to maintain a certain level of discipline and situational awareness. And I'm never going to be, so out of sorts or so goofy or whatever that just doesn't, that's not conducive of what this Black man is trying to do. And not for nothing too, by the way, you see all this behind me. This is not AI, y'all. These are these things for some of these young people. These are called books. These are called books. And there's more down there and all that. But I mean, so like, there's a certain level of reality that has to be maintained.
Question for you, because I've bought quite a few books this year for the show, like doing research and shit. Can we write that off now? Is that something books a write off on your taxes?
Absolutely, as long as it's part of your business, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I gotta think so.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been buying more books this year because of the show. I just bought another one, actually, 2 of them. Smart is sexy, says Kathy. See what I mean? Personalities make you both sexy. And we had a question from one of our members here. Thanks. Were you and Dot as a child?
So now this is funny. Depends on what you're talking about. So my mother used to own the biggest Black-owned hair salon at that time in the city, which was right in Common Square, Adrian's Hair Flare, right there in Common Square. And she also, as part of the building that she owned, she used to rent the next door store to the sneaker spot, which is where New Kids on the Block and all these people used to go to get their sneakers. So if that's what you're talking about from Dorchester, yes. My mother's house was in Mattapan, so I was halfway between Mattapan. My grandmother's house was on Humboldt Ave in Roxbury, and then my mother's business was in Cobman Square. So I was literally Mattapan, Dorchester, Roxbury, back and forth. Yeah, so Cobman Square back in the day, Mattapan as a kid, Humboldt Ave, on and on and on, for sure.
About one more name that's come up in some of our conversations, but we haven't talked too much about it. Matula Shakur.
Matulu, yes.
Yeah, did I say it right?
Matulu, yes.
Matulu, thank you.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about him? A lot of people might not know.
So he was one of my mentors and my elders. God bless. A lot of people, who may be familiar would be familiar because he was Tupac's father, stepfather, but him and Tupac would fight you if you said that. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, ain't no step here. Matula Shakur was a political prisoner since about like 1986, I think it was. He is one of the people who, if people understand, about Assata Shakur and, her being, locked up in America, being in the state prison in New Jersey, and then poof, bang, pow, not being there and being, out in Cuba. He's one of the people who, had been allegedly associated with, helping abscond her. But probably for this conversation, more so, Matulu was a member of the Black Panthers. He was a member of the Black Liberation Army. He was one of the most cerebral brothers I knew and spiritual. I had the privilege to have a lot of interactions with him in terms of, he was locked in jail, but writing and, giving me messages and instructions. And he chastised me as he used to do Tupac in terms of, both of us kind of like wasting our time and out here, whatever. Like we had way more potential than what it is. So with Tupac, huh?
Did you know Tupac?
I never met Tupac. Never met Tupac. And had I at the time, we probably wouldn't have got along.
Yeah.
Because I actually viewed him as the how could I say it? I viewed him as kind of like, damn, if I had what he had, I would be doing this and this and this. So I looked at him as almost squandering the legacy of, the whole Panther legacy, where I was affiliated with Panthers, but it wasn't my daddy and my mama. You know what I mean? And then also too with some of the music that he was making at the time, which was, booty shaking and gun clapping and all, which I was like, why are we doing this? You know what I mean? But in any event, Matula Shakur and Tupac, they had their own, conversations like that, which for most people, this whole thug life thing that they talk about, the thug life and the thug code, it was Matulu who actually worked with Tupac to actually ingrain the thug code or thug life. And a lot of that, which, now it's just, blah, but it was actually a serious thing in terms of, people in the community, not making sure that they don't harm any elders or children, not taking advantage or
selling drugs
money
to
from
kids.
people. Yeah,
Right.
like a
And
real.
right before Tupac died, he brought there was like a movement with the Crips and the Bloods got together, like a summit. That was part of that. Like there were things that Tupac were trying to do right at the end, and I know that was all because of the influence of Matulu. Like
And there was a lot of stuff in prisons, and a lot of my brothers. Shout out to my brother Aros and whatnot. Who were working on the inside of those prisons, both federal and then later state prisons, to bring some of those people together who, and not for nothing too, a lot of these people are together to this day. So
Yeah.
These are long-standing relationships. You talking about 30 years in it.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying about the Tupac stuff, some of his music, but he also had that other side where he had some of the most mainstream conscious music ever. Like it
Right,
still resonates. Some of his songs, just like Dear Mama and Keep Your Head
right, right,
Up, and
right, for
just
sure.
like some of that music, like so Matulu definitely had such influence. A couple, it's so many comments are coming in for you tonight. Our audience loves you. I do want to let you go, but I have to ask you this question that came in because there's another show called JFK Show Off. They're affiliated with Show Off Records and Static Selector and Terminology and that crew. They've been covering this Eddie O'Brien thing, and they kind of have some new information. They've had new interviews with somebody who possibly seemed like they probably did it actually, and the police never really did a good investigation. Are you familiar with any of that stuff with Eddie O'Brien? Have you ever followed it? Do you know anything about it? What do you think?
Not at all. Not at all. Now, well, see, when I say not at all, I absorb a lot of information. So let me make sure. Give me a 5 second thing. Which one? Which
Eddie
one is
O'Brien
Eddie
was
O'Brien?
a young kid who was I think in the early 90s he got no, maybe it was even 2000. He got prosecuted. Remember when they were going crazy on teen crime and they wanted to lower the age to prosecute teen killers? He was the baby fist giant kid who was like 15 years old who killed his next door neighbor in Somerville. They said it was a sex crime. And it never really made sense because he had stabbed the woman over and over and over again. And for a young kid to do that and looking at his family and the sisters, it didn't make sense. None of it made sense to me. Um,
No. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not familiar with that. But
It
that
was under
sounds.
Tom Riley. Tom Riley. Remember when he was DA or
Yeah,
AG later on? I think he was too. But yeah, it was
yeah,
under Tom Riley.
yeah, no,
It was
I'm
a long
familiar
time
with
ago.
that. That sounds quite horrific though. So
Yeah.
God bless anybody involved, family or what have you. But that sounds horrific. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I don't have any knowledge on that one.
But you would not be surprised that an innocent man's been in jail for 30 plus years in Massachusetts. That's not unheard of, right?
No, once again, I mean, we talked about trial 4. Sean Ellis. I found out, after he got out and whatnot. But Sean Ellis is my cousin, and
Wow.
we had family in common all this time. Which, duh, for me, the last name Ellis, I should already know, but whatever. I'm stupid, and but yeah, no, I have.
You know.
Oh, great hip hop icon. Orange Man from Boston. You know what I mean? Orange Man from the original RSO. He's still locked up right now.
Wow.
He's been locked up since like 1986 or 89, for a crime he didn't commit, a murder he didn't
Really?
commit. And even if they thought he committed it, he's not the murderer. The best that they say he was the lookout, and he wasn't even that. You know what I mean? So my other man, Jiz, I know a lot of people who either are still locked up, just got out, hoping to come out for crimes that they did not commit. And back to the police reform thing, because look, there's wrongful conviction and wrongful imprisonment, right? All of that begins with effed up police work, right? Because you don't get convicted until it's, the police put them false charges and all this type of stuff. And that lays the foundation for someone to get wrongfully convicted, then to get wrongfully sentenced and incarcerated and whatnot. But all of those things begin with bad police work.
We should maybe cover some of those cases, where people are still in jail for things that they didn't do. If I'd love to get more info on any of those, Jamal.
Well, if you
Look
go on
into
my
them a little
YouTube,
more.
if you go on my YouTube, you'll see the interview with Orange Man. And if you wanted to do your own interview, we could surely make that happen.
Well, I'll listen to that. I want to listen to it first and check it out and see what it's about. Wild. One last question from Battle Royal said, "Do you know Demba Sene from Senegal?" Worked at Rounder Records, had a world music show on public radio in the 80s.
That kind of sounds familiar, but no, I can't say like, if I know, like, not a friend of mine or something like that, but that rings bells. Yeah. That rings bells. Demba and the Rounder Records and the Senegal reference, that rings bells.
I remember Rounder
So once
Records.
again,
Yeah.
if you anybody want to make these connections, once again, you have my Facebook or whatever. Do I know anything about the Deanna Kremen case? No, I do not know anything about that one either.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting a lot of questions tonight.
I mean, it's good. Listen, I'm,
yeah, it's funny too. They because one of the commenters here, thing about that Eddie O'Brien case that's interesting. His grandfather was the chief of police in Somerville. How often do you see someone get framed for a crime and their grandfather was the chief of police, it's pretty wild actually.
And did you say 98 times? Was that the stabbing?
Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah. It seems like the brother-in-law had much more motive in my opinion, to stab 98 times than this kid did.
God.
They called it like a sex, like he was, in fact, this 15-year-old kid was infatuated. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make sense to me. Especially if you look at the rest of the family too. Like they just don't seem like it. They're not, I don't know.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, nobody seems like nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Who would have think Uncle Freddie, touched all those children?
That's true.
Uncle Freddie. It's Uncle Freddie.
But 15, I don't know. That many times.
I don't know either. All I'm saying.
I think everyone's saying Artie knows because Artie came on those. Artie called into those shows and geez, didn't sound good. Like that's all I'll say about it. But they want you to look up Eddie O'Brien. I hope you go listen to JFK show off because I think Jamal. I think if you listen to it, you'll have some questions. And
once again, JFK show off. That's the one you said. That's the one who's down.
JFK show off. You'll like them too. Yeah.
I think I saw
Static Selector. Yeah.
Static Selector. Yeah, all that.
Yeah, he's his partner. JFK's partner is Static. So they were
not for nothing. Terminology. If you out there, answer a call. I've been trying to get with terminology on his. He has this whole thing about the Good Dad game.
Good Dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to get with him because actually we have some legislation right now in the State House that I want him to get behind about fathers dealing with probate court and child support still being able to be, impactful in their children's life. I think this would be great for him, right up his alley. So terminology, if you're watching, holler back at your old guy.
Well, maybe you should. That's the other reason you should watch JFK show off. Maybe he'll hook you up with term too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really appreciate you being here and spending all this time with us. Generate a lot of comments. People want you back. They're enjoying this today. So thank you, Jamarhl Crawford. And I hope people follow you again on Facebook. We got you pinned in the chat. You know how you know it's a good show, no matter what? It's like when the audience grows. Like we haven't had a shitload of people watching tonight, but it's just continued to go up. It hasn't never gone down. It's just been like a couple more people watching. Yeah. Yep. Great show, great guest. Great conversation. We could be here all night. I want to thank you. We're over 2 hours. 2 hours and 3 minutes. It didn't even seem like it seemed like a half hour, Jamal. We just went through everything. It was great.
Absolutely. So yeah, anytime you're ready, I will be back with bells on. No problem.
Yes, and like anytime there's something too you want to talk about going on in Boston, like that's the big thing too, because I see you come up when you have your little topics on Facebook, and those are the perfect times. Anytime you have something to talk about, let me know.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Awesome.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, Jamarhl Crawford. Make sure everyone follow him on Facebook. Really happy to have him on the show tonight. Great guy. Love him. It's funny because, like I said, I feel like he looks out for me. And we are actually born on the same year. I found out that recently. We both got the same last name, Crawford. We've both been activists. We've both been into the cannabis scene. I feel like we have a lot in common. And if he sees something's going like sideways for me, he'll call me. He'll be like, you know, like security one time. He called me to make sure I was going to be secure. Like I was like, Jamal, I was a wrestler. I'm not afraid of anybody showing up here. And he was like, oh, okay, I get it. But he makes sure that I'm good. And that's what a real friend does. Like makes the call and say, hey, you good? You need any security advice? There's some crazies out there, you know. And I got the camera. We got the cameras, but you know, I love Jamal. Jamal is a good friend to have, and I really appreciate him being here tonight. Make sure you follow him. Follow him on Facebook like I do. When you see his videos pop up, you just check him out because he's always got good info. Especially if you want to know what's going on in the city of Boston or even just the state of America, what's actually going on. He's always got a good opinion and brings facts. You saw it tonight. I want to thank him so much for being here. I was going to play Brother Counsel. It's funny because I had the Brother Counsel video teed up, but it's probably best not to. Let him get all the views for having Alan Jackson on tonight. But if you want to check that out, I'll just throw it up on the screen so you can see it. Alan Jackson was on Brother Counsel today. And a couple things he said. He was talking about Boston, the city of Boston, what was going on in terms of Cox and the letter and all that. Michelle Wu not responding to him. He also mentioned quite a bit about Karen Reed. Karen Reed needing support, financial support, how much it's cost her that she's lost her job. She lost her 6-figure career. She lost her housing. She had to give up her condo, her house, excuse me. She didn't have a condo. She sold her house. And all of that equity, all that money went to pay for lawyers and experts and travel and food and lodging and transportation for 2 murder trials. She's lost everything. She gave up her 401k. Her father's recently said that as well again. And so if you can support her right now, Venmo, it's Karen-Reed-1. If you want to support Karen Reed, her civil defense, now she's being sued. And she's also doing a countersuit against 3 Massachusetts State Police. If you want to support her, Karen-Reed-1. It's on Venmo. You can donate there. I just thought I'd throw it out. Some people seem to think that's controversial right now. I don't. If I can afford, a lot of you know that I'm facing my own legal lawsuit. It sucks. If I wasn't, I'd be kicking in money much more to Karen than I currently am. But if you want to support her, you can do so. Karen-Reed.1. All right, I'm going to check out of here and go eat some food, go eat some dinner. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I'm not sure when my next show is. I think Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have another great guest, a lawyer here. I'm going to surprise you, but check back on Tuesday night, Young Jerks. I'll see you then. I hope everyone has a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the super chats. We had Battle Royal threw in 10 pounds today, or 10 euros, excuse me. Those are euros, right? Those aren't pounds. Those are euros. Thank you, Battle Royal, who's also a member here. I also want to thank LTL Media. We're going to redirect you. LTL Media is live tonight as well. Going to redirect you over there. Thank you, everyone watching. Thank you, our mods. Thank you to all the commenters. Thank you for all the great questions and feedback tonight. We'll see you very soon. If you haven't, make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. Have a great weekend. And thank you again, Jamarhl Crawford. Love him. Support him. Make sure you jump on and follow him on Facebook tonight. Have a great night, everyone. See you soon.